Promineo Tech is an education as a service platform. We partner with colleges to help them launch their own coding boot camps and other workforce training programs. So essentially, we run all the marketing, the admissions, and then the education for these programs for our colleges. We co-brand or white label our programs and enable the colleges to run them. We offer programs like software development, back-end, front-end, data engineering, digital marketing, SaaS tech sales. And all these programs, they're short-term, part-time programs with a length of about 16 to 26 weeks, depending on the specific boot camp. And they're all geared at adult workers looking to re-career into a new industry, a high-growth industry. One of the important things about Promineo Tech is we're a mission-driven company, and we're focused on making workforce training, especially technology workforce training, affordable and accessible. And we do that through a unique flipped classroom model, as well as through partnering with our colleges to get these programs into more locations. So back in 2017, I started working as an instructor at a different local coding boot camp. And I absolutely loved it. We were doing a lot of cool things. I loved working with people who had never coded before and teaching them software development and then seeing them land jobs in the industry. Because I loved it, I spent a lot of time. I was spending 12 to 13 hours a day working there. And so I quickly moved up into leadership over the academic team. And I stayed there for about a year. And then I felt like there were some things that could be a little better in the industry, things that we could do differently. So in the meantime, I took another job as a software engineer and started deciding how I could launch my own coding boot camp. What ended up happening was I got a group of people together who wanted to learn to code, and I started teaching them out of my living room and taught them how to code, helped them land jobs in the industry, and then got another group of people together. So we started doing that until the class sizes got too large. So we moved out of my living room and into a local co-working space. Originally, I had designed all the programs to have a remote first aspect to them so that students could attend in person or remotely. So around that time, COVID actually hit, and it was pretty easy for us to flip the switch and say, okay, everyone's remote now. The programs were already designed so that they have the same quality of experience as someone in person. And then, so that's that. We were a coding boot camp local here in Arizona and Peoria. And what we are today, we're an education as a service platform. Around that same time that COVID hit, we had an organization approach us and ask if they could white label our programs. And so we did that, and I hired our first employee, Nick Suwyn, as the director of business development, with the focus on exploring this white labeling a little more, right? It seemed like a better business model. How could we approach that? So after doing, a bunch of research, we found at this point, the coding bootcamp industry was about 8 years old, and community colleges had not participated yet, or they hadn't found a way to participate in the coding bootcamp industry. So we started talking with some of them and found that there was actually a lot of interest there in what we were doing. And so beginning of 2020, we rolled out our education as a service platform, partnered with 3 of the local Maricopa community colleges, and then started scaling that out to more colleges from there. Since we launched the education as a service platform with the original 3 colleges, we're now at about 35 colleges across the US. We focus primarily on community colleges, but we have a handful of universities as well. So we're growing, we're scaling out vertically by adding more and more colleges, but we're also starting to scale out horizontally by adding new programs, right? We started with the front end and back end coding boot camps, and then launched the data engineering. And now it's actually next month, June, the digital marketing program launches, and then Q4 SaaS tech sales. I think one of the biggest ones early on was finding that product market fit on the B2B side, right? Who we knew we wanted to white label, we knew we wanted a platform, but who was the right profile for that? We spent a lot of time, money, and effort looking around. We tried with nonprofits for a while, figuring that that might be something they would like to do, especially those focused on, reskilling or helping people get into different industries. We talked with other companies, and until we came to the community college, the realization that community colleges were the way to go. So figuring that out was challenging, but it was really great once we figured it out. I think one of the biggest contributing factors to our growth is our team. I'm a big believer of hiring great people that share the same vision and similar values, right? Different thoughts, but same core values. And I think we just, we got lucky with finding the right people at the right time to bring on to continue our growth. In 2021, we were raising a round of funding, and someone introduced me to Brandon, and I got on a call with him, and he told me about the collective, and then he had me talk to Tom, and afterwards they invited me to join the collective. And at first I was a little hesitant, right? Because it's time out of running the company and being inside the company. And I think most founders are protective of that time. But I asked around, people I knew in the community, and everyone said it was a pretty good opportunity. So, I said, let's give it a shot. And I'm really glad that I accepted Brandon's offer there. As a first-time founder, there's a lot of you don't know what you don't know. So being part of the collective, I learned a lot about what it means to scale a growth venture almost through osmosis, just being around other people doing similar things, right? Asking questions, answering questions where I can, just that camaraderie. So a lot of knowledge gained and a clearer vision and a more expanded vision on what we're doing at Promineo Tech. And then equally valuable are the connections that I've made. It's been real great to get to know other people, again, in kind of a similar boat, and just be with them and through these journeys that we're on. We're currently expanding outside of the U.S. I used to always say we're a education as a service provider that partners with colleges across the U.S. and I can't say that anymore, so I'm adjusting. We're talking with a lot of colleges in Canada currently, and then we're looking at Mexico next. So as we continue to scale vertically by adding more colleges, we're doing that in different countries. And then we're always looking at what's the next program in a high growth industry to roll out so we can help working adults reskill without having to go back to school for 4 years. Hire a good team. I mentioned it earlier, that's one of the biggest contributors to our growth. And I fully believe in finding the right people that, like I said, different thoughts, but same core values, and believe in the mission, and giving them, finding people who are smarter than you in the areas that your company needs. And each company needs, different areas of expertise, but find those people who are great there, they're hungry, they're driven, and then ask what you can do for them to help them be successful, and then get out of the way, right? Let them make big things happen. I think that's been, a learning opportunity for me, and I'm starting to get good at it. And I've got lucky with a lot of the hires that we've made, but, hire good people, give them everything they need, get out of their way. That's the summary.